Everybody's got questions. It's just human nature. And Thorian nature. Keldor nature. Mon Calamari nature. Ishitib nature. Clone nature. Gand nature. Twi'lek nature. Hutt nature. Bith nature.
The first set of questions is from Ben. What does Afgaronkles consider the perfect date?
I think Afgaronkles would want to go someplace quiet with not very many people.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Afgaronkles would want to go someplace that's extremely crowded that he couldn't be overheard.
Okay. So,
I don't
conflicting ideas.
I don't think Afgaronkles goes on many dates.
Is the perfect Afgaronkles date no date?
That's probably right. Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Okay. Why did you choose the Clone Wars era as a whatever?
Doug and I actually answered that one, and we'll cut to that.
Okay.
Why did we choose the Clone Wars era? This is a question from Ben. Well, Ben, that's a very good question.
I think that I'm interested in the Clone Wars era because it's different, and in a lot of ways people don't really like it as much as the original.
Well, they really like the Clone Wars show.
Yeah, and
that has a proven large fan base.
And I grew to really like the Clone Wars show. And it seems like... Hi. It seems like the less obvious answer, which is why it interests me, because I think it's a way to find more unique and unusual situations and scenarios to choosing the original trilogy universe, even though I would say probably both of us prefer the original trilogy universe.
Yeah. So a lot of things on the show are sort of improvised. That's just sort of the nature of the game. The biggest improv of all was picking the Clone Wars. We just sat down with the idea of doing a pregame for the show, came up with Lucky, said, hey, should this be in the Clone Wars? Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and it seems like it hardly matters because most of the situations don't have anything to do with the Clone War. But I think also Coruscant as a place is much more thoroughly realized in the prequel trilogy.
And the Clone Wars TV show.
Yeah, and it's hardly in the original trilogy. And it almost feels like we're making up less by setting it in the Clone Wars,
Sure.
But, I mean, whatever.
That's the true answer.
Whatever.
We just like it.
I think
fun.
I think also like having a clone character is fun, and the clones are more easily sympathetic than a stormtrooper. And also, I think having like playing this game where the clone is different. It maybe if it was a stormtrooper, it would feel too similar to the plot of like The Force Awakens with Finn's character as a stormtrooper who is defected.
How do you plan for a session as a GM?
I don't. So
see, that is contradictory because I know that you spend a lot of time before people get here.
I tend to plan sessions more often when I don't know the people that I'm playing with.
Okay.
So when this has aired, we will have heard about the egg heist. I planned the egg heist, and the egg heist didn't happen. When I played with Dave, I had planned this whole elaborate thing. I had a map of the theater. I had what everybody was doing all the time. And he just said, see you later. I'm doing something else. And that is generally how things go. So I get my characters ready, and yeah. So
you have a plan A, but you have to be open to throwing it out the window.
When I go into a session these days, I usually have a few scenes that I want to happen. So for the second Carp episode, I had a scene with Carp and Snoober eating dinner. I knew I wanted to have that. I had the scene with Saul Vanderbeek knocking his head when he escapes, and everything else was unplanned.
So you're really playing off the
The players. Yeah.
Okay. What is the most unexpected thing a player has done up to this point?
And the next question actually goes along with this.
What is the biggest twist that has threatened how you pictured the game?
So that egg heist that didn't happen.
Again with the egg heist.
Yeah, that's an easy...
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. That's an easy one to answer. I planned that whole thing. And, you know, I planned that. I think I mentioned in it that I had run it a couple times, so that was very well planned out. And I really thought he was going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And he just said, nah.
Yeah, he just said, what's the easiest way for me to escape this? And...
Well, that's pretty smart if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, he was pretty logical as character.
Yeah, I think in the beginning of it, you could see, you could hear, because this is an audio format, you can't see anything.
It's a podcast.
It's a podcast. You could hear that I didn't really want him to go off the rails.
You were trying to gently coerce him.
Have you listened to it yet?
No.
I was trying to gently coerce him by making the window too small.
Okay.
And also over the head of the guy who's having massive problems in the toilet stall.
Okay.
But he said, no thanks. I'm gonna take care of this. And I let it happen because it was gonna be a good story.
Yeah.
And along with those...
Well, that's just kind of like plus... It's kind of like trusting your character. Or you're trusting your players.
Yeah. And sometimes that can be tough because... in the case of Dave and many of the other people that I've played with, it is their first time. So, trusting them can be tricky. Thanks for the questions, Ben.
Oh, we still have one more from Ben.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yeah. Who is Doug's favorite character to play?
Okay, and I asked Doug to answer that one, so hopefully we've got something to throw in here from Doug.
Okay.
Thanks, Ben.
Now a break for Doug.
Hello, this is Doug. I was asked who is my favorite character to play on Coruscant Nights, and I would say that Lucky the Clone is probably my favorite character, or at least the character that I feel most closely attached to, because Mark and I have played probably about 23-hour-long campaigns with Lucky. That being said, Lucky is kind of a orderly, sometimes chaotic good. The longer I play this game, the more fun I think it is to play very chaotic characters. So I had a lot of fun playing as John Shondangus. And I just like playing a character that is completely unhinged. You can just do whatever you want, make totally irrational, comical decisions. So I really enjoyed that. I would say any character where I can have an accent is a lot of fun to kind of role play in that usually pretty funny place. And I think it kind of helps me make decisions for that character to get inside their head if I'm doing an accent. And if you play tabletop role-playing games, I highly recommend it. It's lots of fun, even though it might be super embarrassing at first. Anyway, thanks. Bye-bye.
The next set of questions is from Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, Paul from South Carolina. Nice to not really talk to you again, but hello. How did Mark get a beard that awesome?
Oh, hey, thanks. If you don't know, I have a large and luscious beard.
Yes.
Which Paul has seen in person. It's just, it's skill and hereditary.
Quite full and beardly.
Yeah.
Last question from Paul. Why only one player character at a time?
Okay, so I ran a game for my friend Katie, and she was this is Story Corner right now. So she was this Force-sensitive Rhodian who was an explorer, and...
None of the words you said to me just now make any sense.
She was a Rhodian, so she looked like Greedo.
Still no.
She had green skin and a little snoot and big black eyes and a little mohawk.
Okay, better.
Okay. And she could use the Force, but she didn't know it.
Okay.
She was an explorer and went off to a snowy planet where she was in search for, guess what? Another egg. Because eggs are my go-to MacGuffin. So she was looking for this egg, and she hired a guide named Boofcheck, and they went up the mountain together, and she had a force cave encounter, and Boofcheck saved her life but died in the process, and she ended up getting the egg. And
R.I.P. Boofcheck.
Yeah, Boofcheck was good. Boofcheck had a Russian accent. Basically, it was a very memorable and kind of intense and slightly emotional session, and I thought, hey, if I could make that happen again, I think that would make a really good game. And hey, if I could get that to happen again, I think it would make a really good podcast. So that's why.
So we should be thanking Katie Beach.
Thanks, Katie Beach.
Thank you.
I know you don't listen to the podcast, but it's okay.
We still love you.
My name is Silstax, and I'm an explorer from Rhodia. I went to Ortho Plutonia to find a very valuable and rare egg. The eagle which lays these eggs lives on top of a very tall mountain. It was winter, and I didn't know the area, so I hired a guide named Boofcheck. Boofcheck was a douse.
Okay, the next set of questions are from Nikki, and I'll let everyone guess whether it's Nikki Smetters or Nikki Kroc or anyone else named Nikki that might be involved with this podcast. All right, first one. What conspiracy theory does Carp not believe in?
Okay, we're going to try and get Nikki Smetters to answer that one. So guess who that question came from?
The Force. Oh, wait, no. Something that is that so she doesn't believe.
Yeah.
Ooh. I feel like I haven't really come across anything yet that she wouldn't believe in. I feel like she, what's it called when you've got, suspend your disbelief?
I think that's what it's called.
No, there's another one where, well, she basically believes everything until she doesn't.
You believe until proven unbelievable.
I think the only thing she really doesn't believe in is the Force. And then she believes in literally every other conspiracy. Because she got her start watching soap operas. Mm-hmm. And that's where all of her conspiracy theories come from.
All right, number 2. How did Meryl Katunka get her repulsor fist?
Okay,
Let me add one tidbit.
Yes.
The sound effect of Meryl Katunka's repulsor fist is, to date, my favorite sound effect on the podcast.
It is a treadmill sped up with a metal clang at the end.
Genius.
We're going to try and get Mary Frances to answer that one.
Okay.
How did Meryl Katunka lose her arm, you ask? Well, I'm here to tell the tale. Okay, yeah, so first version of the story that I like to tell people is there's a version of the story that makes me look more intimidating, makes me instill fear in those that hear of it, just because I do some pretty extreme stuff in that version. But then it's not actually the truth. So I'm going to tell you 2 stories because I feel like I can trust you all. But don't go crazy with this privileged information. So if you were to ask people who've hired me how I lost my arm, I was working a job, a high-powered politician who had an affinity for exotic animals. The latest installment of his menagerie had escaped, and it happened to be a Gundark. As it escaped, it kind of mauled one of his guests that he was showing it off to. So, he was pretty embarrassed about it. It was illegal for him to have it as a pet anyway, so he wanted it dealt with discreetly, preferably without the loss of the life of the Gundark. So, I was chasing it, but of course, they go for a pretty good price on the black market. So, other people, of course, saw this giant animal racing through the streets, and word got out that there was a Gundark on the loose. So, if you could catch it, sell it on the black market, you can make a pretty profit. Little did they know that Meryl Katunka was on the case. I'm not describing a Gundark properly. Oh my, it is terrifying. Now I understand why calling someone the son of a Gundark is an insult. Because these are terrifying. Wow, y'all, Google Gundark. Just Google it. Just check that out. Space Google. Spoogle Gundark. Everybody, it's your homework for the day. This has been Fun Spoogle Searches with Meryl Katunka. Ding! Anyway, so I'm on the case. chasing a Gundark down the streets. Needless to say, it was not difficult to find it, to get on its trail, because there was just a wake of death and destruction. Because if you've spoogled it, you know these guys are formidable. So, hunting it down, I see it, and I'm on my speeder, catching up to it, and then 2 other speeders pull up on either side of me. There are 2 other lowlifes from the city who are also trying to capture this Gundark. They pin me in. Long story short, my speeder crashes, and theirs does as well, and one of those speeders crashes on top of my arm. I see them closing in on the Gundark, and I just can't let them get my bounty, because obviously this is my bounty, it's my job, and Mero Katunka never leaves a job unfinished. So, I have 2 options. Stay with my arm pinned under this crashed speeder, or I can find some inner strength and find a way to free myself. The only way to free myself was to shoot off my own arm. So, that's what I did. I shot off my arm, and even though I had an insane amount of blood loss, I was able to overpower the other 2 bounty hunters, get my Gundark, and return the bounty to its owner. So that's the story I like to tell people. As I'm sure you were all listening, you were getting, just terrified, and now you all have a greater sense of respect for me and my insane strength and pain tolerance levels. But that's not the true story. The true story is, I would never do that to myself. I'm not stupid. You have to be crazy. Okay, 127 hours? You don't just shoot off, carve off, gnaw off your own limb. Just don't do that, people. Not recommended. The true story is much more embarrassing.
Mero Katunka's true story somehow didn't get recorded. Guess you'll have to wait until our next questions and answers episode to find out what really happened.
What does Lucky think makes him unique out of all of the clones?
Doug's got a good answer for this one that we recorded way back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, so the question for Lucky is, what does Lucky think makes him unique out of all of the clones?
What makes Lucky... Is Lucky a pirate?
Alright, hey, what makes Lucky unique?
What makes Lucky unique as compared to the other clones?
Right.
I'd say Lucky's good looks, probably, compared to the other clones. But in general, Lucky's always questioning the world around him, why he's doing what he's doing, and whether he wants to continue to do that.
What's the deal with the taxi driver?
Okay, the taxi driver. We kind of already know a bit about the taxi driver from our private investigator / romance novelist series of episodes.
I don't want you to give too much away. It should still be a mystery, but I need you to, explain it a little bit.
So, Rondo Pepsi, the Bothan taxi driver, fought on the wrong side of the Clone Wars. And during the Battle of Celeste, which is where the Celestins are from, our friends with the do-flap jowls, he got trapped in a cave-in with 2 of his closest friends and a Jedi. The Jedi, being a good Samaritan on the right side of things, did not dispatch her newly found separatist friends, and the 4 of them escaped together. Rondo left the war at that point to try to find a more peaceful life.
This is a lot of backstory.
Okay, so Rondo Pepsi, you know Rondo Pepsi.
But I thought you said it wasn't that Rondo Pepsi.
It is that Rondo Pepsi.
Okay, you've changed canon again.
No, it was a secret from certain people who played in the game with Rondo Pepsi and also listened to the podcast.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to reveal it until it got revealed on the podcast.
Nick Scourin.
So Rondo Pepsi originates in one of our home games. He later in life becomes a Bothan Bantha farmer on Dantooine.
And then a taxi driver.
That's pre-Bantha.
Tell me why he plays such a reoccurring, consistent role in the podcast.
So connections are important. Connections between the episodes. The order that
Easter eggs, if you
eggs?
will.
Sure, more eggs.
Eggs. Eggs.
The order that I put episodes in is at least important to me. There are connections between episodes. So if we're looking at the connection from the first Carp episode to the Manus and Soul episode, we've got the Dims, we've got Afka Ronkles. The connection between that one and the following one, we really got into the Thassa Ver thing. So there are connections between episodes, and I wanted there to be some like real long-standing connections. So Rondo's one of them. Merlin's bar is like the fulcrum of all events on Coruscant Nights. Like, everything starts there. So yeah, that's why he's so recurring.
He's like the most prominent of all of the Easter eggs.
Oh yeah, he's a very prominent occurring NPC.
Yeah. So there are all these different levels and sections of Coruscant. Just out of curiosity, is there a disco level?
There is now.
Oh, thanks so much. This is the benefit of being married to the GM. He just does what you want. Extremely important question. Why is it pronounced Coruscant? Because, I mean, it should be...
Doug and I also answered this one. So
okay.
We'll cut to that. It's Doug's fault, that's why. Short answer. Oh, how about this one? Why is it pronounced Coruscant and not Coruscant, like it should be? Any thoughts? I have thoughts.
Yeah, I know that we both have thoughts on this because I think as children we probably pronounced it.
We probably did pronounce it Coruscant.
Yeah, I remember pronouncing it.
But like Coruscant is a real word.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, which means like starry, something like that.
Oh, so is that the why it's called? Is it just a mispronunciation of that actual word?
I think they just mispronounced it and ran with it.
Fair enough.
We could probably look it up, but...
Can you tell me what you and I used to call Tatooine as children?
Tatooine.
Yeah, we both thought it was called Tatooine.
That's all these words that nobody ever says on screen. It's hard to not mispronounce a couple of them.
Yeah.
Are there any other ones?
That we mispronounced?
Yeah.
I remember Hermione from Harry Potter.
Oh, Hermione.
Being pronounced Hermione.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah.
All right. These next set of questions are from Dwayne. He asks, was the plan always to tell the stories non-chronologically?
I wanted to tell the stories so that you could listen to them. You could drop in anywhere and listen to them. I think, though there are connections between many of them, none of those are so big that you couldn't just drop in and listen.
That they couldn't be standalone.
Yeah. The whole timeline thing, I get, wasn't really on purpose, the jumping around. It just, certain things seemed like they should happen at certain times. Yeah, it wasn't really done on purpose, it just ended up being that way.
I feel like it makes it a little bit more approachable as well, because personally, if I go to a podcast and I see that there are 100 episodes, I might get overwhelmed because I would always want to start from the beginning. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of listening time. But to know that somebody could come in fresh, and as long as you've explained it in the text included with the podcast, that you can jump in anywhere, I think it's a really short commitment. Like usually a 3-episode commitment to really get a taste of what the podcast is like. So I feel like it's smart to make it easier for the audience to welcome them in.
Based on our the numbers I see, people still start at number 1 with Liz and Nick, which is fine because they did a great job with their episodes, and those are really good ones.
I mean, you've released a lot of episodes, but you're not at like 100 episodes yet, so
no, just like 30.
It's not that intimidating. I imagine when you get in like past maybe 60 or 70, people will start to jump in later. It'll be interesting to see what the stats say.
Yeah.
One last question from Dwayne. Do you have plans to release an episode order list in case someone wanted to do a chronological listen?
By the time this airs, there will be one on the website.
Awesome.
So yes, it's going to be more of a timeline though.
It's all for you, Dwayne.
Just for you. Enjoy.
Everything's for you, Dwayne.
It's all for you. Your episode will come out eventually.
Be patient. Okay.
Thanks. Anything to add?
People should keep coming over to our house because I enjoy it when you purchase Chinese food for them and I get to partake.
Mm-hmm.
I do not enjoy having to clean the house before people come over.
I help. I do the kitchen.
But I think it's a fair sacrifice for some company and some Chinese food. Yeah, people come over, please. Hang out.
But not everybody. I know 100 people are listening. At least 100 people listen. So I love you all. You're not invited.
Stable. I'll take a minute and say that Mark is amazing, and I'm super proud of his work on the podcast. He has a whole set of skills that I didn't know that he had. The majority of the music is composed by him. He puts a lot of effort into the quality and consistency of the podcast, and I think you can really tell, and I'm just super proud of him. So good job, Mark.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Ciao.
Hasta lasagna.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Don't get any on ya.
Well, I think I might change my answer to whether I don't know.
I'm so mean.
You really are.
I'm so sorry.
You're so mean.
It's just because you talk slow.
Not in real life.
Okay, so I
You
feel like I
talk
should...
slow in real life?
No, I just love
Is
it.
this gonna make it into some kind of bloopers episode?
You know, I think this is gonna make it right into the
Oh,
episode.
you're gonna leave this in?
Were you even
Yeah.
recording me being a to him?
Yes. Alright, so...
Oh, can we get that bleep, please?
that will be
Podcast.
bleeped.
Please
You cannot say on the podcast.
Alright.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No
Yeah,
cuss
you
words.
curse an awful
Make
lot.
that up.
No cuss
I think
words.
you did.
Okay, so we thought the episode was over. We got a whole bunch more questions, so here we go. I'm gonna start with the question that you two are pretty much answering right now, which is:
Do we hate each other?
would
Yes.
Meryl ever consider working with Weffig if they crossed paths?
Oh.
Well, I guess it depends on an awful lot of stuff.
Yeah, but we're gonna be here for the rest of the century waiting for him to make that list because he talks so slowly. So
I'm
if
gonna go ahead and say no.
If we were to weapon, I would work with you.
Uh-huh.
If you could just like promise me you wouldn't speak.
No, I can't promise that.
Yeah, I was afraid
Weffig
of-
throws a mean bowling net.
No.
I should say
Hashtags.
Weffig.
Spoilers. That's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler right
Oh
there.
my God, I'm so
No, I don't
happy
care
to know
who you are right there. That's a spoiler.
Can I kill him now?
Maybe
You can
we'll
try.
find out.
You gotta roll for it.
No, I think we could maybe work together at some point. You know, I'm still just trying to get my feet in the game.
Maybe
I got a
I'll
lot
have-
to learn yet.
Well, that's for sure.
I wish everyone could see the look on Mary Francis's face right now.
I feel like in order
Believe that.
I feel like in order
Leave
to
it
work with him without so much death and destruction ensuing, either on him or the whoever's closest, my nearest victim. At first, I will need to go through some serious character building experiences. Because right now, I gotta tell you, I don't have the patience for this nonsense.
I like that you both are immediately answering the questions in character.
No, I think it's.
Oh my god!
I think it'd be a good sort of like
I can see
like a yin yang kind of thing.
I can see how it would be beneficial for you.
No. You tend to jump to violence awfully quickly. I, on the other
In your
hand,
case, yeah.
try and find a way around the violence and trick people.
You're really just mesmerizing them with how slowly you're speaking. They're just in awe that it's like watching you talk in slow motion. They don't know what's happening.
Why do you think
they've entered a time
I'm so
warp.
successful?
Well,
It's the
all right.
slow nature of my voice.
It's hypnotic.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's something.
Long answer, maybe. Short answer, maybe.
Alright, let's move on to the next question. Which is going to be...
There's a lot of laughter you're going to have to cut out of
No, it's staying in.
Leave it.
For Carp.
Okay.
It's a two-parter.
Uh-huh.
What does Carp see in Snoober? And how did they meet?
Oh, great. I don't know really what she sees in Snoober.
Snoober's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's
I
just
think
not
she
that good.
likes- I think she likes, you know, that element of safe danger about him. She...
Sounds like a snooze fest.
Yeah.
He does a lot of bad things, but he has a lot of bodyguards. It's pretty safe,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's,
it's
you know...
good. He built a beach for her.
He built a beach.
He built a beach
Very
for her.
generous.
He
And
won't
then
do
what-
the-
It was
the
really
big-
hot, but it was still a beach.
He will go in for the big romantic gesture every once in a while. Her little squid heart just melts. They met. I'd like to say that they met while she was tracking down some kind of conspiracy, of course.
He was probably a lead.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
something. It always starts at the message boards.
She was probably trying to disprove the Force.
Oh yeah, and he sells artifacts, and
Uh-huh.
so their paths crossed. And that was her major takeaway.
With Snooper.
That's what you got out of the deal.
Yeah, she just thinks that he's hoodwinking people because she doesn't believe in the Force. So she thinks all this artifact stuff are just like the stuff you see in tourist shops. Things that they, like little fortune things or trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really believe in it.
Yeah, she thinks he's selling people a bill of goods.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Snake oil.
Snake oil.
Which he might take personally. Lizard snooper.
yeah, that might not be the nicest comparison I've heard you make.
Are squid cold-blooded? Are Mon Calamari cold-blooded? That's something they might have in common.
They might be. Who knows?
I
But
think
the
might be.
heat doesn't affect her as much. Well,
It's
no,
the
it does affect
dryness.
her. The dryness, yeah.
You gotta moisturize.
Wait, I'm gonna Google this.
Well, I think they would be. Fish are cold-blooded.
There's no way you know anything about anything.
What? What are you talking about?
It's not possible.
I'm not
yes,
sure
they
what
are
you mean by
cold-blooded.
I'm not surprised.
They are
Well,
cold-blooded, so they
alright.
bonded over that.
Yeah. Alright, now while people have their phones out,
Oh dear.
I would like everybody to...
You mean our communication devices?
Your comm links.
Or comm
Our
links.
Yeah,
comm links?
your data pads.
My data pad?
My data pad?
What?
Y'all just wait till the next episode. I do a mean Ithorian voice in the next episode. Alright, everybody look up. We have a request for everyone's favorite Star Wars swear word. So look up Star Wars
We
swear words
already
real
know
quick.
what mine
I know
is.
yours. There's
Yeah.
an episode named after that.
That's exactly right.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that mine is Criff, which I picked up from the Force Mature podcast that they picked up from Redemption.
Should I
I think that's a fun one.
live about, learn how to curse in the Star Wars universe? Is that gonna work?
That sounds about right.
Oh no, I'll go to the Star Wars wiki list of phrases and slang.
We're gonna be here a long time, aren't we?
What's yours?
I'll go
Son of a
last.
Gundark.
Yeah.
Which is a great descriptor for my friend over here. Actually, you beautiful son of a Gundark, you. See, if I say it in that tone,
No,
he
you
won't
see,
know
he
if
won't
I'm
even know.
insulting him or not.
Yeah.
Because he's just responding to tone and
Right.
facial
You're
expression
saying I'm
because he
simple?
can't
Right over
actually
his beta
comprehend
head.
words.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. I know you don't. It's okay.
I think I like Nerf Herder.
Nerf Herder.
So funny.
That's a classic.
It is
Yeah.
a classic.
Scruffy
Especially if
looking.
you're scruffy
Nerf
looking.
Herder.
Yeah, Nerf Herder.
Also a good descriptor for our slow talking friend.
I think I looked at the wrong one.
Again, not surprised.
I agree.
I like this one. It says hell.
No, what
That's a
could
good
that
one.
possibly mean?
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Are we
I like
still just
Farkle.
Farkle?
Farkled. So the engine's farkled.
Oh, what about Moof Milker?
How wholesome.
Moof.
Moof Milker?
Move milker.
You lousy Moof Milker?
Okay, I like that.
If you knew what it meant, you would say it describes me.
I already think that.
But it's a term for a dim-witted individual.
Aww. Is there a picture of you next to that definition?
Next to the definition of moof milker?
Moof milker?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, you can stop talking like that now.
I don't know. I'm pretty deep in character right now.
You've gone full method? Okay. I guess I have too because I'm just
You wanna kill us.
Because you're so
me.
full of rage.
I'm just naturally a ragey person, whether I'm Meryl or Mary Frances. So, yeah, all my friends fear Meryl Frances. Meryl Frances.
Meryl Janice.
Katinka.
Katinka.
Whoa, you had a tone.
Huh?
You want to watch it there, buddy?
Watch what?
Step off.
Oh, what?
I can hit him now, right?
Yeah.
Parks drinking.
Getting
Out of a
belligerent.
Of course.
Okay, give me 6 seconds of total silence.
We'll try.
So that's 6.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Coruscant Nights. Thanks to everybody who asked questions for today's questions and answers episode. Thanks to Doug, Nikki, Mary Frances, and Nick for joining me in answering those questions. And thanks to our 3 newest patrons on Patreon. Thanks AJ, thanks Sarah, thanks Weaselpunk. Hey, can you believe it? This week we hit a great milestone, 5,000 downloads. And to celebrate, we're doing a giveaway. 2 lucky listeners will be getting one of 2 awesome prizes. We're giving away 1 set of Women of the Galaxy postcards, and a set of 3 books that capture that Coruscant Nights spirit. Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales from Jabba's Palace, and Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina. All you have to do to enter is leave us a rating and review, and DM a screenshot to our Twitter or Instagram, or send it to us through email. Patreon patrons are automatically entered, and we're happy to ship overseas. We'll notify our 2 winners on August 12th. Our music is by Mark Eberhardt and Nick Scourin. You can find Nick's music at pro-am.bandcamp.com. You can find us on social media at Coruscant Night on Twitter, and you can email us at coruscantnightspod@gmail.com. Love the show and want to show your support? Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or visit our Patreon. Check it out at patreon.com/Coruscant Nights. Now stay tuned for a preview of next week's episode.
So this thief, this expert that you brought in isn't doing the trick. What do you think, boss, if maybe we got a shot at it?
I mean, he is an expert at it.
Yeah,
so
but
he's gonna do it.
Well, but we're just stuck here guarding the back door. I mean, we've never really gotten a chance to shine. How do you know we're not experts?
I mean, I don't know. You're too big to be a thief, Trask. Come on.
I mean, Trask, we know the back door really well. This is our specialty. I don't think we need to step on any toes. Let the thief and let the back door folks backdoor is what I like to say.
Yeah, listen, you 2 are good at guarding back doors. You're gonna guard this back door. Then when we're done with this guy, you're gonna go up to the casino and you're gonna guard that back door.
That sounds like a great plan, you know?
As the 3 of you finish up that portion of the conversation, Mitch comes running around the corner. Boss, the guy, he escaped. And Boss Aram gives Mitch, if a look could kill someone, this would be that look. And he grabs him by the collar and lifts him up. Boss Aram's a big man. And he tosses him down the hallway and yells,
"How did you let him escape? You had one job, Mitch. One job. To babysit that guy. You and Glug. Find him. If you don't find him, I will personally take you to the spice mines of Kessel. All right, that is your one job. You find him tonight. You too.
Yes. Yep.
You're doing the job. You wanted to do it. You're doing it.
Wait, really? Point of interest. I did not want. You know what? It's fine.
Trask just slams a big claw hand over his face and goes, "We'll do it."